Hi everyone, it's Gail here with a little impromptu Ignite show live. So I normally do the Ignite show on Mondays and Thursdays, but yesterday it was just one of those days and it just was never ever going to happen. Just had too many things on the go bubbling away yesterday, and I just happened to have a spare moment just now, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go and do it now. I'm just gonna do a little impromptu one, a little off the cuff Ignite show live with Gail, and I had to have a little think about what I was going to talk about, but I've got something in mind, and so here we are. And if you do join me live, then I'd love for you to let me know that you're here. Drop me a little comment, say hi, let me know who you are, where you are, what you're up to, what you're doing. And if you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay, let me know the same thing. And if you're watching this in my vault, right, so you can, all of the Ignite show episodes are uploaded to my vault. So if you're watching in there, thank you for dropping by, and I hope you're enjoying my free hub and all the resources that are in there. So today, or tonight even, so it's dark here, I am talking about getting back on the horse. And I told this story yesterday morning in my client group, where the topic is resilience this week. So this week we are focusing on resilience. And this story just came to me at the weekend. I actually wrote about it on social media. I don't think anybody noticed it, to be honest. Spent hours poring over this whole story and trying to fit it into the amount of characters that I had available to me on LinkedIn. And I think it just slipped in under the radar. So I'll maybe need to do it again and put a picture on it or something so people actually notice it. But the story was about a time when I was 15, so I was only 15, and so on this particular day, I had been out with my riding teacher and a group of people out riding. I was learning to ride, and all of a sudden, I just remember that I had my eyes had been shut, and I opened my eyes and I was lying on the ground, and what felt like to me like I was in bed, right? So it was like I was coming around from a deep sleep, and I kind of looked over to my side. I saw somebody, a man, was in a car at the side of the road and was peering through the passenger window at me, lying on what I thought was my bed, asking me if I was okay. And I remember at the time thinking, you know, what is a car doing beside my bed? Who is this man? Why is he asking me if I'm okay? All those thoughts were kind of going through my head. And then the next thing that happened was my riding instructor appeared in front of me as well. She was asking me the same thing. Are you okay? So I see a couple of people are actually watching me live now. So if you are on live, please do just drop me a little comment in here. Let me know if you are watching. Let me know who you are, where you are, what you're up to, how your day is going. What tier are you in, right? If you're in Scotland right now. Okay, new tier restrictions have just been introduced, just been announced today. So let me know what tier you are in and what that means for you. That'd be interesting for me to know. So yes, my riding instructor then appears in front of me and starts asking me the same thing as well. You know, what, are you okay? And this all seemed a little bit strange to me at the time. And the next thing that happened was I realised that I was lying on the grass verge at the side of the road. So I wasn't actually in my bed. I was lying on the grass verge at the side of the road, having fallen off my horse. And at the same time, as I was realising this, I also noticed that the horse that I had been riding had bolted off onto the road, creating carnage. All the cars were kind of all over the place. There was no actual accident or anything like that, but you know, it was all a bit hairy. Horse running up the middle of the road, me lying on the grass verge, not moving, unconscious, face down. Unbeknown to me, because I was unconscious at the time, but that was the scenario. So, you know, picture the scene: me lying face down on the grass verge, having fallen off, horse bolting up the middle of the road, traffic kind of coming to a standstill as a result, and I wasn't moving. But anyway, I came to finally realised what was going on. I couldn't understand how I was where I was. I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember anything that had happened to me that day. When I got up onto my feet, I looked down and I'd been given new clothes that morning. So I was only 15, so they were given to me. New riding gear, right? And I've never experienced this ever again. This will never happen to me once. But it was just such a strange feeling looking down at what I was wearing and not having any recollection at all. Hi, Abigail. How are you? What's new for you? How's your day been? Having no recollection whatsoever of ever having owning these clothes before. So I'm looking at myself, staring down at myself, and thinking, what is happening? Like, I couldn't. I just couldn't get my head around it. And so it turned out I had lost my memory. I couldn't remember anything that had happened to me that morning. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I couldn't remember how I'd got where I was. I didn't understand how I was lying on the grass verge. I knew who I was. So they took me through what's your name? Where are you from? What year is it? All of that. I could remember all of that. So I knew who I was. I knew the people around me. Because there's there's a group of people that had kind of appeared that were known to me. I knew who the people were. I knew who I was, but just couldn't remember anything that had happened that morning. Abigail is saying, okay, thanks, full of learning curves and progressing. Fantastic. Thank you. And good growth happening. Fabulous. Love good growth happening. So that was the thing. So I had fallen off my horse and was suffering from concussion. So concussion was eventually diagnosed after being taken to hospital, being discharged, getting home, not being able to stay awake. So I just wanted to go to sleep, throwing up everywhere. Local family doctor said, you need to get back to hospital. She's definitely got concussion. You should never have been discharged. Was kept in overnight, all the rest of it. And anyway, it was fine. My memory did eventually come back. I remember all that stuff now, but at the time it was a bit scary. And the other thing that happened was I had a big gash on my knee, and to this day I still have, there's a little spot on my knee that when I touch, there's not a physical spot, but a bit on my knee that when I touch it, there's just absolutely no feeling in it whatsoever, just completely numb. And so that was a long time ago, and that has never come back. So the memory came back, but the feeling in my knee never came back. So anyway, all was good. I had, the horse made it back to the stable. No damage was done to any cars. I was okay. My memory came back. I was a bit shaken up, a bit rough and tumbled, but I was okay. And so then the next thing was, right, okay, so what now? Because I was learning to ride at the time. And, at that point I didn't have my own horse. I was just learning. And at some point, I had to make the decision, do I get back on the horse? Do I get back in the saddle, or do I run away, right? Never to kind of venture near a horse again, given the experience that I'd had. And everybody tells you, well, you've just got to get back on the horse. You've just got to get back on the horse. And it's all well and good somebody telling you that, right? All well and good someone telling you that. But when you've actually physically got to do it, like you're the one that's got to get on the horse, after that has happened, and that's all that's in your mind, you've just had a really bad fall, I need to get back on the horse. It's quite a, I still remember, at the time, that was quite a big thing, to even consider getting back on the horse. So the time came and I did get back on the horse, right? Now, for anybody that has been around horses, right, you will know that horses sense fear, right? And the whole thing about getting back on the horse at that time was I was full of something, right? I was full of fear, right? Full of fear. And when you sit on a horse and you're scared, like the fear in you just seeps right into the horse and it freaks the horse out. They sense it. It's never a good combo. And so, my first few outings after that, when I got back on the horse, were a bit tentative, a bit uneasy, me definitely not feeling particularly confident. And it took some time, right? It took some time for me to get past that, to feel confident on the horse again, and to kind of find my mojo with it, I guess, again. So why am I telling you all of this? So the reason I'm telling you all of this is because we're talking about resilience, right? That's my topic for this week, is resilience. So when you get back on the horse, you have to face your fear, right? You have to face your fear, and sometimes everything that we want is on the other side of fear, right? Somebody more clever than me said that. Everything we want, all of our desires, I think it might have been Eleanor Roosevelt actually, all of our desires are on the other side of fear. And that was certainly true because, I loved horse riding. At that time when I was 15, I don't think I could actually get on a horse now. I'd probably need a crane for me to get on. I could kind of nip up quite easily when I was 15, but now, oh my goodness, I don't relish that prospect. Don't relish the horse that would have to suffer me trying to climb on. But anyway, that was the thing that I really loved to do when I was 15. And if I hadn't faced the fear, I would have missed out on so much because I didn't have a horse at that time, but I did eventually get a horse. So I had my own horse. I learned to show jump. I entered competitions. It gave me a whole thing that I did in my life when I was younger that had I just walked away from it, I would never have experienced. And I absolutely loved it. I adored my horse. Had great fun. Fell off many times again after that. I never had quite as bad a fall as that particular fall, where I lost my memory. But I would never have experienced any of that, right? I would never have got to do that. I would never have had, would never have won rosettes, would have never experienced what it's like to own your own horse, to look after it. Working out stables is probably something I could have done without, but I even relished that. I just loved, I loved the smell of the horse. I loved being on the horse. I loved riding the horse. I loved how my confidence grew. The more that I did it. And had I not stepped into that and just faced my fear and got on with it, I would never have experienced all of that. So the reason I'm sharing all of this is, resilience is something that you work at, right? Resilience is something that you learn. It's a skill to be nurtured, a skill to be practiced, and something that you can get better at with time, right? And to be more resilient is a choice. It's not something that just happens. It is a choice, and often it's an uncomfortable choice, right? Because usually, especially as leaders, we feel exposed anyway when we are leading. So we feel exposed. We don't often have, peers around us that can kind of help pick us back up and kind of set us off again. So it can be a bit of a lonely place. And when we mess up, we feel like we're messing up in front of everyone as well, because, we are setting the tone. People are watching what we do. So both our teams are watching what we do, and also our stakeholders are watching what we do as well. And so there can be a lot of pressure in that. And when we mess up, when we fail, when we fall over, it feels like a public failure, right? And failure is bad enough at the best of times without doing it in public, right? Without other people knowing that you messed up. That's often the worst thing. And there can be a lot of fear in that as well. Oh my goodness, I made a mess of my presentation. Oh my goodness, I said the wrong thing to an important stakeholder. Oh my goodness, I completely got that conversation wrong with my staff member. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to do in this situation, and I look stupid. In situations like that, when we feel like, that's when our saboteurs get triggered. That's when we feel like we're an imposter. We feel like we're no good. Like we feel like, why did anybody give me this job anyway? And should I just stand aside and let someone else pick this up? But often when we fail, that is when we have our biggest learning, right? That's when we have our biggest learning, and we need to embrace it. We need to learn. We need to appreciate it. We need to be grateful, and we need to focus on learning, right? We need to focus on our learning. So the other example I have for you, which I'm just going to share just now, just because it just popped into my head, is I remember being on a leadership program, a residential leadership program down south in the UK. I won't say where it was because I just won't say where it was. And I remember, at one point during the week, we were doing an exercise was a team building exercise. Team building exercise, I usually hate them. It was a team building exercise, and they needed people to step up and volunteer to lead certain bits of the exercises, and nobody was really coming forward. And I was like, you know what, I need to fill this gap. So I put my hand up, put myself forward, and said, right, okay, I'll do it. It was a nightmare, right? It was an absolute nightmare. I didn't understand the assignment, didn't know what I was trying to do. I was trying to lead the team through this assignment that they'd given us. It was horrendous. And I felt like I made a complete and utter fool of myself. I felt like people were laughing at me, judging me, thinking that I was no good, talking about me. I do actually know that one person was talking about me because I caught them doing it. So it wasn't complete saboteur there. There was an element of fact in that. But it was one of those moments where you just want the ground to swallow you up, and you just want to be, it's like, beam me up, Scotty moment. It was like a public failure, even though it was a training environment. It just felt so uncomfortable, and I just felt terrible about the whole thing. But the thing is that experience has always stayed with me, right? And I think that experience has helped me with the workshops that I now design and deliver, because I've never want anybody to experience what I experienced and how I felt. But there was learning in it, and the learning for me in that moment was, even though I failed miserably, I still learned about the power of teamwork. I still learned about how important it is that you are able to achieve so much more when you work with other people than you can do on your own. And I would never have learned that to the same extent had I not gone through that experience on that training program, because we still managed to deliver it as a team, despite me, right? So not because of me, definitely not because of me. Despite me being in the middle of it, we still managed to deliver as a team, and we actually ended up with a good result in the end. But it definitely wasn't because of me. It was in spite of me, or despite me, not in spite of me. So that's the thing, and that helped me move forward. It helped me pick myself back up. It helped me realize actually that was just one moment in time. And I still have strengths. I am still good at leading people. I am still meant to be where I am. It is all good, but it did take me. Just had a little message from someone. Just had a little message from someone talking about the story that I was sharing. They must have clicked in to hear me chatting live. So now I can't remember what I was saying. So there is. When we look for the learning, when we appreciate what's going on, when we think about what we can learn and how we can apply that, it helps us move forward. But usually we have to face the fear, right? We just have to get through it, right? We just have to get through it, and we have to have an eye on, what is past this, what is calling me forward, what is going to help me get through this fear. Right? Because often that is the thing. We just have to get through the fear to get to the other side, because it's worth it, because it's important, because it's what we want. It's because our desires are leading us there, right? So when we're clear where it is we're trying to get to, what's important to us, what is on the other side of the fear, right? We can take the action and we can get through it. And that is resilience, right? Resilience is not about it being easy to get back up. Resilience isn't about it being easy, right? It's not. To be resilient, we've got to dig deep, we've got to persevere, we've got to endure, we've got to keep going, we've got to be determined, we've got to be discerning, we've got to work for it, we've got to fight for it, we've got to dig deep, right? Those are the moments when we need resilience. That's what resilience is. Resilience is about finding the strength from somewhere within us to enable us to get back up again, right? It's about getting back up again after a fall. That's what resilience is. So it's a skill, it can be learned. And the more that you can focus on what is calling you forward, what is it that you really want, what is your vision, what are you appreciating, what can you focus on in terms of learning, that will help you get back up. Because we have to get back up. We have to get back up. It's our job as leaders to get back up. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that was helpful. This little impromptu Ignite show. I don't normally go live at this time on a Tuesday. It's normally a Monday at 5. But there we go. And if you enjoyed that story, there are plenty more of them, or there will be plenty more of them in my next 5-day challenge. I would love you to come and join me. So it's basically a free coaching week. Get to work with me for free for 5 days, the week of the 30th of November. Get to work on a specific task every day that will help you lead with impact, right? So if you are interested in doing that, if you'd like to come and join me for that, I would love you to come and join me. And the link is in the notes for this post. So just click on that. You can sign up. It's free to join. And I look forward to welcoming you there. And I'm just going to check, see what else is Abigail saying. Abigail is saying, let's see. Abigail is saying yes to the learning and helping others not go through that, learning how much I can help others from my own experiences. Nice. I like the focus on the learning and helping others. Oh, I love that, Ree, what's calling you through the fear. Yeah, that's the thing. That's how you get through fear. It's to focus on what's calling you forward. What's the longing? What's the desire? What's the bigger goal? What's the bigger vision? Right? Because when we're clear what that is, it helps us move forward. It calls us forward, Very, very helpful, very enjoyable to learn. Oh, thank you, Abigail. That's so nice of you to say that. Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to leave it there for now. If you are watching on replay, #replay, let me know that you've tuned in. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any comments. And if you're watching this in the vault, have a look around and see what else there is to explore, because there's loads of stuff in the vault for you to get your teeth into, and lots of nuggets and little snippets of wisdom that will help you lead with impact. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will speak to you again later in the week. Bye.